I grew up here, but after high school I just took off and did a lot of traveling for about a decade. And I came back here. I worked in construction for some time, worked at some of the retail shops in Blacksburg. But I really have had this obsession with flowers, and it's just gotten to the point where I want to create a business out of it. I had an interest in botany from a very early time and hung around people who were involved in that kind of thing. We were friends with one of the horticulturalists at Virginia Tech. So as a kid I would go work in his garden, and he would coach me and talk to me about botanical horticultural issues. It's an obsession that goes back quite some time. I think it was probably in the early 90s. I had a house in Blacksburg was renting, and I asked my landlord if I could do something with the backyard because it was a mess. And he let me do what I wanted. I utilized some daylilies in a redoing of the landscape, and the extra daylilies that I had, I composted and I threw behind a tree in a wooded area, and they went through the freeze-thaw cycle all winter long. And I came back in the spring and I looked at this pile of daylilies, probably about 3 feet tall, and they were all alive and they were all growing, and I was just blown out of the water. I actually apologized to them and I incorporated some more of them into the landscape. I was so impressed that I was hooked. I've been a customer at the farmers market off and on over the years. I've always enjoyed it, and I've had people that have said, yeah, you should bring your flowers down to the farmers market, and I've wanted to, and so this year we just started at the farmers market, and it's been a lot of fun. The interaction with people at the farmers market is always great, and there's so much experience among the vendors there, and so many of them are involved in agricultural pursuits that I can learn from. The nice thing that because I'm so involved in breeding flowers and dealing with daylilies, there's the opportunity of bringing to Blacksburg some of the newer, better varieties of flowers. Because if you go to the big box stores, you can find daylilies, and lots of times they're older varieties, and there's no one there to really educate you about the do's and don'ts of dealing with these plants, at least in the detail that I can. Last week we had a gentleman come up, a guy who I've seen around town and really didn't know, and we sat down and talked for quite some time at farmers market. It was a lot of fun, and he basically said, the daylilies have taken you for a sucker, haven't they? And I go, yeah, you know, I think the daylilies were all kind of whispering when they saw me come into their presence, and they go, here's a real sucker, we can get him hooked, you know, and he'll be taking care of us, he'll be feeding and watering us. We just show a little color, and I think the flowers know they saw a sucker in me and took me on.